Well, here's an idea. How about an incentivization tied to LeoDex? So if you do swaps, you get a percentage of your swap or some type of payout in Leo as an incentive for using LeoDex, because that's the great thing about a token is you can incentivize whatever activity you want. And if you have this stream of revenue where you say, okay, for the next month or the next quarter or the next 2 weeks or whatever it is, if you use LeoDex, you get I don't know, I'll just make up a number, 0.5% uh, of your swap will be paid out in Leo. So that's a way to incentivize people to use Leo, which of course then will generate more fees, and you get kind of this mini feedback loop that starts to take place.
Yep. Yeah, and I think like you're basically talking about like a Leo rebate, which is something I've also thought about, where you do a swap and then you get rebate. Like if it charges you a 0.45% fee on that swap, maybe you get like 0.2% of that fee back to you as Leo tokens as a rebate, which means that there was still buy pressure on Leo because the fee is paid in Brune or Cacao or USDC for chain flip, and then we use that revenue to buy Leo and then send you the rebate autonomously. So there's still buy pressure on Leo, but then the end user is actually getting a rebate. And again, I think a lot of these things can be voted on based on those economic indicators, and really just kind of creating a more real time. I think it's unrealistic to say that this is how things should be done forever. So like if we say like Leo should be bought and burned, like to say that that's what should be done in perpetuity with this LeoDex revenue, I think is a not a very holistic picture of how economics works, because economics in the real world are highly variable and continue to change. So we need to stay flexible and focused on what is best for Leo at any given moment based on the indicators in front of us.
Well, and even more importantly, money is now technology, and we know how technology changes.
Right.
So, Sheeb asked, this was from earlier. What about your SwapKit kind of DApp?
Yeah, well, what we've basically built here for LeoDex is our own version of SwapKit, which if you're not familiar with SwapKit, it was originally created by the THORSwap team. And it essentially was just to oversimplify it, it essentially was an SDK or software kit that any other UI could take, and allow swaps on the major protocols like THORChain, Chainflip, and Maya, using that simple to integrate kit. And then SwapKit would take a small fee from the affiliate fee, and then the remainder of that fee would get sent to the exchange interface. So for example, if the affiliate fee is set at like 0.45%, 0.15% of that would go to SwapKit, and then 0.3% of that would go to the affiliate, the actual interface that integrated SwapKit. So essentially creating like a backend that any other interface can tap into. We've recently seen Dorito Dex actually come out with their own version of SwapKit, so they're calling it DKit. And what we've built for LeoDex is essentially our own version of SwapKit. So there are more and more versions, and I expect a lot more to come out in the future of something like a SwapKit. So I think potentially in the future, one thing Leo can do is release this kind of LeoKit, or whatever we decide to name it, and then just release it as open source software that anyone can tap into. And in exchange, we take a small, 0.1% fee, for example, on every swap that is done through LeoKit. And that does the exact same thing as the affiliate revenue on LeoDex. So it opens us up to earning affiliate revenue, not only from, the LeoDex UI, but from every UI that would integrate LeoKit. Like I said, it's already getting kind of competitive in terms of these kits, and I think it will get more and more competitive over time. So we need to find different ways, and Tass, you kind of touched on this a little bit, is that there's a lot of other financial tools out there. So we can start to look at some of these other tools, and as these protocols expand, if we're not only offering swaps, but we're also offering perps and we're also offering liquidity, and we're also offering collateralized lending, because for example, Maya integrates collateralized lending at the protocol level, and then the LeoDex interface adds an interface to that protocol layer. Then we also add the ability for other UIs to tap into our software kit, and then add collateralized lending to their UI using LeoKit. Now we have some differentiation in the market. So right now, I think it's a little bit hard to release something like a SwapKit and have good differentiation. So we're going to focus on LeoDex and getting good volume, and then I think as these other features start to roll out, we'll be able to roll out LeoKit and hopefully get other UIs to integrate it, which would just mean more and more revenue for the Leo token. And again, this is all the focus going forward. I mean, the entire team now is focused on just making LeoDex as successful as possible. And like I said, there's a lot of teams that are working really hard in this space, and there's a lot of money in this space in terms of revenue. So I've never been more excited about what we can achieve with Leo than I am when I start to think about what LeoDex is